Let's read this Bible story, Joseph and his brothers. This takes place in Genesis chapter 37 and in chapter 39. Joseph, a young man who was 17 years of age, was tending the flocks with his brothers, and he brought their father a bad report about them. Now Israel, that is Jacob, loved Joseph more than any of his other sons, because he had been born to him in his old age, and he made him a robe of many colors for him. When his brothers saw that their father loved him more than any of them, they hated him. Joseph had two dreams. In the first dream, he and his brothers were binding sheaves of corn when his brothers' sheaves bowed down to his sheaf. In the second dream, the sun and the moon and 11 stars all bowed down to Joseph. On hearing this, the brothers thought he intended to rule over them and hated him even more. One day, Jacob told Joseph to go find his brothers, who were working in the fields, and see if all was well. "Here comes that dreamer," they said to each other. "Let's kill him and throw him into one of these cisterns and say a ferocious animal devoured him." When Reuben heard this, he tried to rescue him from their hands. "Don't shed any blood. Throw him into this cistern, but don't lay a hand on him." So Joseph came to his brothers. They stripped him of his robe and threw him in the cistern. As they sat down to eat their meal, they looked up and saw a caravan of Ishmaelites. His brothers pulled Joseph up out of the cistern and sold him for 20 shekels of silver to the Ishmaelites, who took him to Egypt. Then they got Joseph's robe, slaughtered a goat, and dipped the robe in the blood. They took the robe of many colors back to their father. He recognized it and said, "It's my son's robe. Some ferocious animal has devoured him. Joseph has surely been torn to pieces." Then Jacob tore his clothes and put on sackcloth and mourned for his son for many days. Now Joseph had been taken down to Egypt. Potiphar, an Egyptian who was one of Pharaoh's officials, the captain of the guard, bought him from the Ishmaelites who had taken him there. The Lord was with Joseph, and he prospered. When his master saw that the Lord gave him success in everything he did, Joseph found favor in his eyes and became his attendant. Now Joseph was a well-built and handsome, and after a while his master's wife took notice of Joseph. She caught him by his cloak and said, "Come to bed with me." But he left his cloak in her hand and ran out of the house. Potiphar's wife kept the cloak and told her husband that Joseph had made advances toward her. Potiphar was furious and imprisoned Joseph. Understanding the story. Jacob's favoritism and Joseph's dreams are too much for the brothers to bear, and they decide to kill Joseph. However, God has other plans for Joseph. His life is spared, and he manages to prosper in Egypt despite his circumstances. God is with Joseph as he is with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob before him. Thank you, Lord, for your word. I love you. Come on back and we'll do it again.